Hi everyone. As always, thanks for visiting my channel. This time I went international, taking a group tour to the Philippines in April of 2026. Group tours mean you join a group of strangers and go on a set itinerary. And I know that's not for everyone, but we still had an incredible experience, so let's get into what we saw and did over the course of 9 days during our tour of the Philippines. We had arrived to our hotel in Manila the night before, and in the morning it was on the bus for a tour of city highlights, with our first stop being the Quinta Market. Established in the 19th century during the Spanish colonial period, the Quinta Market was the central market of the city of Manila, originally catering to wealthy families that lived in the area at that time. By the early 20th century, the market had become one of the city's most important markets, generating significant revenue while also catering to residents of all social classes. However, growing congestion and a shift of business to new developments outside the city have led to its gradual decline until the market was torn down and rebuilt in 2017. When visiting markets like this, you will find them to be organized chaos, filled with sights and sounds and smells and people trying to earn a living while others are shopping for their daily needs. While it seems to be nothing but pandemonium, it all somehow works, and it is fascinating to watch the people going about their business. At our next stop, we visited Rizal Park in Manila. Jose Rizal lived from 1861 to 1896 and was a Filipino doctor who was vocal for the Philippines to be independent from Spanish rule. He is popularly known as a national hero of the Philippines. Rizal became a writer and a key member of the Filipino propaganda movement in the 1880s, which advocated political reforms for the colony under Spain. In 1892, Rizal was arrested by Spanish authorities and exiled. After 4 years in exile, he was arrested in 1896 after the Philippine Revolution broke out, which was inspired by his writings. In December of 1896, he was executed by the Spanish colonial government for the crime of rebellion. Though he was not actively involved in its planning or conduct, he was considered by the Spanish to be an instigator. Rizal is widely considered one of the greatest and most influential figures in the Philippines, and while the park has a history going back to the 1600s, Rizal Park is the location of a monument dedicated to Jose Rizal, which is on the site of where he was executed. The park is now a green space for people to enjoy and a place of reverence for its part in Filipino history. The Manila Cathedral was originally established in 1571, but typhoons, earthquakes, and fires have required the church to be rebuilt numerous times. This is actually the 8th rendition, having been rebuilt in 1958. The first cathedral was built in 1581 and constructed with wood and bamboo. It was destroyed in a fire that also razed much of the city. The current facade is a replica of the previous cathedral. The architectural evolution of the site gives it an interesting history through the centuries, and it has been an important location for the Catholic Church, which has included visits by 3 different popes. Our next stop was a visit to Fort Santiago. The fort actually predates the Spanish, having been established by Muslim natives. The Spaniards began building the fort in 1571 and made Manila the capital of the new colony. The first fort was a structure of palm logs and earth, and most of it was destroyed when the city was invaded by Chinese pirates, but they were eventually defeated and driven from the Philippines. The construction of Fort Santiago with hard stone that began in 1590 and finished in 1593. The fort received significant damage from an earthquake in 1880. The fort was a base of operation for the British when they took control of Manila from 1762 to 1764. Control was given back to the Spanish when peace was made after the war of that period. After the Spanish-American War, America took control of, and the fort served as headquarters for the United States Army. Fort Santiago was captured by the Japanese during World War II and used as storage for munitions, and it also served as a prison. During the Battle of Manila, when the United States took the Philippines back from the Japanese, the fort sustained heavy damage, which can be seen today. Hundreds of American prisoners were killed during the battle, along with approximately 100,000 civilians throughout the city. There were displays of photographs showing the aftermath of the carnage, but I can't show them here because of YouTube policies. There were pictures of women and babies who had been shot or bayoneted as the Japanese were driven out. Fort Santiago was declared a Shrine of Freedom in 1950, and today the fort is now a historical park and is used as an open-air theater for picnics and as a promenade. The Ayala Museum is a modern museum showcasing a huge range of displays about the people of the Philippines, tracing their journey from ancient history to the present day. The extensive ethnological and archaeological displays relate to Filipino culture, history, art, and heritage. One of the exhibits includes pre-Spanish gold jewelry and artifacts. They were discovered a few decades ago and thus missed being taken by the Spanish. The highlight of the Ayala Museum is the 60 dioramas which depict the history of the Philippines from the early cavemen to the present day. And that wraps up our first day of the tour. It was an exciting day of seeing the people and history of Manila, and I hope you'll continue on with me as we explore what there is to experience in the Philippines. Day 2 was a travel day where we went to the airport and flew to the province of Bohol. Along the way, we had a brief stop at one of the oldest churches in the Philippines, and then a stop at Asin Tabuk for a demonstration of how they make salt. The final product is in the form of what they call a dinosaur egg. The salt is crafted through a 3 to 4 months long process of soaking coconut husks in seawater, burning them to ash, and boiling the brine in clay pots. It is known for its intense, earthy, and mildly smoky flavor. Keeping the tradition alive within the Filipino culture has been a challenge, and as you can see in the video, the people are working over a fire, and this was during a day with extremely high heat and humidity. The final stop and the highlight of the day was a visit to the Chocolate Hills. The Chocolate Hills are a renowned natural wonder featuring over 1,200 conical-shaped mounds spread over 50 square kilometers. These grass-covered hills turn brown during the dry season, creating a unique chocolate landscape. They are definitely a scenic geologic wonder, and the landscape is considered to be a must-visit attraction for tourists. Here you will find a visitor center, souvenir shops, and a short climb to an observation deck where you can take in the entire landscape. Day 3 started with a visit to a nature preserve where we could get close and observe the tarsier, which is one of the smallest primates in the world and are unique with their large eyes. Philippine tarsiers live in rainforests up to an elevation of 2,460 feet and are tolerant of edge habitat and secondary forest, although their population density is lower in areas where human populations encroaches on their habitat. They favor small trees, grasses, bushes, and bamboo shoots to move about in. We then spent the afternoon cruising on the Lobak River. The boat is a floating restaurant where you can enjoy a scenic waterway, lush tropical forests, and party with live music. There is also a stop where the local people will perform for you. For the remainder of the day, we visited a village where we learned about local culture such as making coconut wine, explored an old Spanish church, and we wandered around to watch the nightlife in Bohol. But let's be honest here, I don't exactly have a knack for narrating, so I'm just going to let you see and hear what day 3 was really like as we went deeper into the Philippines.
So we're here. Papa muli, mga friend.
Day 4 was another travel day, and we would be going to Cebu on a ferry. However, we had a little time for a quick run through of the Philippines National Museum, where there are displays of art, history, geology, and nature of the country. With the Philippines being primarily an island nation, they have an extensive ferry system, so it was interesting to experience that mode of transportation. Many of the ferry boats are built for efficiency, so there wasn't an outside observation deck where you could take in the view. After we arrived, we drove to the Alegre Guitar Factory to see how they handcrafted guitars. Our final stop of the day was to see the Lapu-Lapu Monument, which honors a native chieftain who defeated Spanish soldiers led by Ferdinand Magellan during the 1521 Battle of Mactan, making him a national hero. What made it fun is there was a local festival going on, and we had an opportunity to watch the local people enjoying their celebration. We finally made it to our hotel late in the day, where we were greeted with a welcome necklace, drink, and a happy dance and greeting. We were now well into our tour and having a wonderful time with what the Philippines had to offer for the day. Fort San Pedro was a military defense structure in Cebu built by the Spanish, and the original fort was made of wood. In the early 17th century, a stone fort was built to repel Muslim raiders. Today's structure dates from 1738 and is the oldest triangular bastion fort in the country. During the Philippine Revolution at the end of the 19th century, it was attacked and taken by Filipino revolutionaries who used it as a stronghold. The two sides facing the sea were defended with artillery of 14 cannons. Our next stop was at the Santo Niño Basilica, a Catholic minor basilica in Cebu City. It was originally founded in 1565 and is the oldest church in the country. The present building was completed in 1740. The cross at the Magellan's Cross Pavilion is a historic cross planted by Portuguese and Spanish explorers under Ferdinand Magellan on April 21, 1521. It is believed the original cross is encased within the cross you see here. There are vendors that will sell you a candle. You give the candle a prayer or wish, and the vendor will perform a ritual prayer. You then toss the candle inside the cross pavilion, where a priest will collect the candles and bless them. The Catholic churches throughout the world from the Spanish colonial period, they are always filled with history, and it's fascinating to watch the deeply religious people who frequent them. We then made a stop to see the Heritage of Cebu monument, which is an art piece depicting Cebu's contribution in Philippine history, including the Battle of Mactan, along with other historical events. Down the block was Yap San Diego House, which is considered to be among the oldest surviving Chinese houses outside of China. It is also among the oldest residential structures in the Philippines, having been built around 1675 and 1700. We then visited the Carbon Market, which is the largest market in Cebu City. It is the oldest market in the region. Not much is known as to when the market originated, but you can find virtually anything and everything here, as there are around 6,000 vendors selling their wares and goods. We finished the day with a catamaran boat ride from Cebu, so join us as we sailed around Mactan Island. Day 6 was a long travel day. We headed to the airport and flew to the island of Palawan, and then it was a long drive to our hotel. The only stop for the day was to visit a small, family-run hotel where we had a demonstration of how to prepare some of the traditional food that is popular with the local people. Today was a big day trip to Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park. Here you will find the world's second largest underground river and is recognized as one of the new 7 wonders of nature. It is now a major tourist destination for those who want to explore the cave. To get there, you take a 20-minute boat ride, and then it's a short walk to the cave's access point. There are monkeys here, and if you're not careful, they will grab anything you're carrying and run off with it. I had a monkey start pulling on the bag I was carrying, and a monkey jumped on someone in our group, which gave her a good scare. When you get to the cave, you get in another boat that's driven by a guide, and once inside, you will find stunning cave formations and thousands of bats. It might be hard to see in the video, but the little specks you see moving about are bats, and there had to be thousands of them. Needless to say, the underground cave was one of the highlights of the trip and truly a worldwide destination that should be experienced. Today was another travel day and a long bus drive to the town of El Nido. One stop along the way was at a cashew nut farm. It was surprising to find that the farm was run by a single family and virtually everything was done by hand. They demonstrated how they crack open the nuts, which meant doing each nut one at a time. We eventually arrived at our resort and had a little time to browse through some nearby souvenir shops. Even if you don't find anything to buy, it can be fun to see what they have for sale. In the evening, we were treated to a spectacular sunset as we wandered along the beach by the sea. It had been a long day on the road, but there is nothing like an oceanside sunset. The tour saved the best for last, which was a day trip to El Nido. El Nido is a premier tourist destination known worldwide for its dramatic limestone cliffs, hidden turquoise lagoons, and pristine white sand beaches. El Nido is a protected area and is the largest marine sanctuary in the Philippines. The protected area covers a total of just over 900 square kilometers. Often considered one of the most beautiful places in the Philippines, it offers world-class diving, snorkeling, kayaking, and island hopping. And that's how we spent the day, so let's see what it's like to experience the island cliffs of El Nido. The following day, we would fly back to Manila, have a farewell dinner, and then leave for home. We found the history and the nation of the Philippines to be an extraordinary place, but what really makes the country special is the people. So let's finish this video with more of the things we saw and did.